You seen that title, right? Yeah, yeah. Warlock's time again. We're about to have our moment in the sun again. Once every year or two, when these new raids come out, we get to come out of the shadows and take our place at the pedestal with our Weather Radiance coming into this hard content, and we cannot wait for it. We've got a really good one for you today, guys. This is going to be what I've been running and the style I've been running for the last two day one raid releases and any like very hard high end content where we just have that chance to sort of really contribute more to the team and see how far we can take almost a support role is what we're going to call it. So let's get me out of the way here and we're going to jump right into the subclass. So here we are, we're on our Dawnblade, on Weather Radiance as we should be. At the moment we're on Empowering, but this is the flick. This is the whole point of the build. We can flick between healing and Empowering, so let's just go with Empowering for now until we know we need otherwise. Sticking on Strafe Glide as I always am. Then we want Celestial Fire over Incinerator Snap. It's really up to you, but I think Celestial Fire for the purpose of this build suits much better because of the range, and it does good damage, so we like that. And then we're going to be running the Healing Grenade again because it feeds into the build and how we can keep our build rotations up. Really like this build because it is entirely exotic and subclass based. You don't need any weapons, you don't need any mods. It'll run as well without all of that, and that's good considering we're going into Lightfall where all that's about to change, so we don't actually know what we're going to be running yet. First aspect is going to be Heat Rises. You can fire your weapons merely and throw grenades while gliding. It's just really nice. It's just a bit more of a multi-dimensional move around, kite up and around different places, and then you can also consume that grenade to just stay a big floaty boy and kill yourself. So that's also very nice if you get in a bit of a tough place, if you've got no grenade, or you don't need to throw your grenade, so you can just consume that grenade instead and get that direct healing on yourself, especially if it's restoration. From the healing grenade will also apply to yourself, so it's a nice chunk and a bit of healing over time. Next one is going to be Touch of Flame, just to improve the strength of the cure and restoration effects applied by the healing grenade. So that's just how we run now. If you don't want to run that and you're just happy with the base healing grenade, and then you can run Icarus Dash if you want a bit more movement and a bit more mobility around. That's totally up to you depending on what you're in. Now to start tying this all together, we are going to be on the first of our fragments is Ember of Benevolence. This is probably the most important one for uptime on your abilities. You actually take an Elder Discipline, and we're going to take another Elder Discipline here in a second, but it doesn't matter. You won't even notice if you do the rotations right and your game awareness is there of where you are in relation to distance from your allies with the exotic, then you're completely fine. So it's going to apply Restoration, Cure, or Radiant to allies, grants increased grenade, melee, and class ability regeneration for a short duration. I think it's about 3 or 4 seconds at base, but you can keep refreshing it every time you apply one of these effects, and it's very easy to apply one of these effects. Next up, to then apply our first effect is going to be Ember of Torches. So every time we cast that melee, which we can get quite often, we can apply the Radiant effect, which then kicks our Ember of Benevolence over and starts that first rotation. Next one is going to be Searing, and this is just, these two are flex spots for you. I put on Ember of Searing because it allows me to keep proccing, some sort of way to get some of my abilities back even quicker. So I'm going to have Benevolence helping, I'm going to have defeating scorched targets contributing to the melee then contributing to Benevolence, and so on and so forth. And then we have Ember of Solace. This is just something for me. I like it. It's a constant. It's never not going to work. We're going to be Radiant constantly. We're going to have Restoration up constantly. So that having that extended duration just closes that downtime to a very minimal window for us, because our ability regeneration is so quick. We don't need to worry about not being Radiant or having Restoration on. There are other things you can run. You just pick your personal preference for the last two. I'm just a big consistency person, so that's just how it is. Alright, we'll jump over in. We'll go through the weapons because they're a bit quicker. They're a little bit less specific. So you don't actually have anything to run. The highest recommendation is something with Incandescent, so you can create your own Scorch. If you can create your own Scorch, then you can feed the build even easier, and there's a lot of weapons in both the energy and power weapon slot that have Incandescent on them now, and ways to create Scorch. So, and also we're going to be able to do it with new fragments and things like that. Like there's stuff coming. That's why the fragments, we've got a couple of flex spots, and the mods we're not going to be too heavy on just because of how much is coming in Lightfall. but the core of the build is the exotic, and then those first 2 fragments and the rest of the subclass, and that isn't going to change in Lightfall, so that's perfect. So yeah, you know, run the Galahorn if you're going to do a rocket DPS. Just run the Div if you're still going to try that, which I think we will. We'll definitely be trying to see how it holds up. But other than that, just try to run incandescent weapon and then build around the rest of the fire team depending on what you need. You know, you could run a demolitionist weapon to help keep your healing grenades up, or you can run a blinding GL in that harder content. I can't even tell you how cracked blinding GLs are in hard content. This one's quite a nice roll on Pardon Our Dust. I got a 5 out of 5 on that, which I was very happy with, and I can flick it to spiked for a bit of boss DPS if we don't need the blind. Okay, and then we'll jump into the next most important piece is obviously going to be Boots of the Assembler. Rifts create beneficial Seeker projectiles. So standing in a healing rift will create Noble Seekers that will heal. Standing in a power rift will create Noble Seekers that give your allies a damage buff. Damage buff being 35%, but please correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen anywhere that they've ever changed that. And then the healing, I believe, is about 75 HP per hit. So it's got a 35 meter range. And then obviously they did add an airborne effectiveness to hand cannons, being Lumina. If you want to go even further in the build, you can run Lumina. If you really want to go all in on this, run that Lumina as well. But I just think I didn't want to get tied into having to use a weapon. But if you don't have a weapon to use and you've got the space, by all means run Lumina. So we're not going to go into each piece just because, as I said, the only thing of importance here is, you know, maybe running Bomber and Well of Life is obviously very good. Well of Life being the most important one, just because it's another way of getting healing in between. And then Bomber, if we don't have anything next season to run, then that's just an easy choice to run there. And then, as I said, the rest of these we're not going to go too far into it because we know that everything's changing. We're going to want to be wearing the, you know, some different arm. We're going to be trying to wear Artifice armor for the extra stats, and we're going to want to run different mods and different things depending on what happens next season. So we'll definitely do an update on this just prior to going into the raid when Lightfall drops, and I'll let everyone know what we're gonna land on running. But just be that flex, be that person, carry your fire team low key. Don't tell anyone, but you're going to be doing it with these builds in between, and it's going to be perfect for everyone. So let's jump in to a little bit of gameplay, I guess, just to show how it works, but I do think it's very self-explanatory. So we'll have a quick look just to make sure all the questions are answered. Let's jump over there. So we're on Empowering Rift just because it's a bit easier content. As you can see, the boys are already ahead. They're probably going to rinse everything. Probably should have went into something a little bit harder, but here we are. We're going to pop that rift, and then we're going to wait, and these Noble Seekers are going to go out and just damage buff everyone, and everything is going to get destroyed. But you can sort of see what happens with the range and with different things coming up. And we just want to obviously not play in open and hard content, but you will be able to just play, you know, play cover, play a corner, and just keep everyone topped up. This rift has got 5 seconds left, and it's going to be back right around the time we need again. Look at that, we've outdone it. And there we are. The rift is still going. The rift is paused because we are sending Noble Seekers out, and it's well and truly back in time. We could have got that rift back twice probably before we needed it. And it's just so good. Such a good exotic. I think the damage side of it gets underrated quite a lot. The healing is also very nice though. Like if you guys have the damage, it comes down to making that decision. If you don't have the damage as much, or if it needs to be a burst damage phase and you're surviving okay because you've still got healing grenades, you can still pop a well somewhere, then use whatever one you need. You know what I mean? Like if you've got the damage, then use the healing. There's no loss to making sure everyone guarantees to stay alive, or vice versa. If you have enough healing, then just go damage. We'll just keep trying to get these orbs out here, and it's just an insane damage buff for a very, very long time. So Rift is still up, you know what I mean? This Empowering Rift is still going, and we've had the Rift back for what feels like another 2 resets. This is something I would highly recommend using in the day 1 raid, or at least base your build around it and then alter your fragments if need be based on the new ones coming in Lightfall. You can definitely change things up. You can do whatever you need. So yeah, it's one of those ones that has a lot of room for utility. It's got a lot of room for you to decide what you want to do with it yourself. Pick your own mods, pick your own weapons. I think that's what I like most about this one, is that nothing is required beyond the boots and the subclass. That is the entire build. So all of the other armor mods and weapons are only additives to that build, but the build would function at a very high level, at a very high efficiency, just with the boots of the assembler, your rift of choice, and the fragments. Definitely need benevolence and a way to make it radiant. So those first two are probably your most important, and then the last two fragments are your choice in the end. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoy the build. If you do like the content and you want me to keep making this stuff, and you do enjoy it and it helps people out here and there, especially with new content coming out very soon, drop a like, hit me with a sub so you don't miss any of the content. Ring the bell, throw a comment on the side if there's anything you need to know, or any changes you'd make or things you think could be done better, and we can look into that. Cheers, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.